Welcome back, Crypto Army. I'm Malik.
I'm Josh. As a disclaimer, we are not financial advisors, and nothing which we communicate to you guys here should be considered financial advice. We recommend doing your own due diligence before investing in any digital asset. And we hope you understand that investing in the cryptocurrency market is a space that is extremely risky and you can lose all of your invested funds.
So we're back with another video. So how did you feel about this recent bloodbath or fluctuation in the market, Josh?
I thought it was I thought it was very interesting.
hmm
Everything seemed to plummet a lot. Was it like a 30-40% plummet, Malik?
It was a good chunk. I'm not sure if it was 30 or 40%,
Uh,
maybe well, I'm just going off of Bitcoin, for instance. It went down to, I believe, around 28,000. If we're going over,
right.
from 64 to 28, then yeah, that was a good
Right.
30 to
Oh
40%.
yeah. So I think we also saw a low for XRP hit was it 52 cents, 54 cents?
Yeah,
So
around that
I think
range. Yeah.
I think our favorite crypto dropped about 20%, but
It was a,
it was quite a bloodbath, but as you can see, if you guys invested in the right spots, you could have made some money already. We're back up to
yep.
68 cents about for XRP. Bitcoin's back up to 34,000. I think it's been a crazy ride lately. What do you think?
I think this is probably a day trader's dream, to be honest, especially a swing trader because of the fluctuations. They buy the dip. Now they're up a few $1,000s depending on how much money they invested. For instance, Dogecoin went down to 19 cents or 17 cents, I believe that was the lowest point, and now it's at 27 cents. So they would have made a nice little coin on this ride back up and just selling and selling off basically. So I think for them it's been a good time. For other people, not so much.
The long holder, so to speak, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, well, it could also be a long holder's dream as well, due to the fact that we're able to add on more right now. This is a perfect
Right.
time to buy. We want to buy low and sell high. That's obviously the strategy everybody should be employing in when they buy. So I know I bought a little bit of XRP when it did a dip, so I'm
That's good.
happy.
That's good. I thought the saying was buy high, sell low.
I don't think so. I don't think you remember that one correct.
Right. Please buy low, sell high, everyone. Do not
Please do your due
do the opposite.
diligence. You need to make sure you know what you're doing when you invest. Do not be emotional either.
And speaking of emotional, an alert was set out by JP Morgan. Let me just move this. Issuing basically the top cryptocurrencies. So what are your thoughts about that? How do you feel about JP Morgan
Well,
issuing an alert?
well, I do believe that JP Morgan being as big of a company as it is, I know they've had history in doing some manipulation in gold and silver, so I think the fact that a huge financial system or company, their financial advisors are saying that Bitcoin is it's pretty much at its peak right now is basically what they've been
hmm
saying that it could be 23,000 as far as a fair valuation. So I think personally it should be a big wake up to people who are into Bitcoin and think they're gonna be making a shit ton of money. So I just hope that people are able to wake up and see and take in the taking the wisdom from a big financial institution about a certain asset. What do you think?
I think it's interesting hearing from an institution such as JP Morgan discuss cryptocurrency news. I mean, it's great to hear that information, especially because, I mean, around this time last year, they wouldn't even mention it. So it's very interesting how mainstream media, these hedge funds, these institutions that basically have a large influence in the stock market are now covering and giving out announcements about cryptocurrency. So it seems as though even though we don't have regulation and any type of clarity by Congress or by the SEC, which apparently they're not ever going to do this year, it's good to know that institutions large such as Wells Fargo or JP Morgan or even Bank of America are kind of giving insight as to what they think is going to occur. So I just find it interesting that they're saying Bitcoin is still going to fluctuate. It could even go down to about 25,000, maybe even 20,000, as we said in our previous video, or it can stay around this range and then kind of just stay around this market around 34, 35,000.
Right. And I think that's pretty fair considering Bitcoin is like the father of all cryptocurrency. I mean, so I would say that's probably a fair valuation as far as that goes, but I don't see it being a very long-term type of currency that would yield a long-term value, especially with what they provide as far as utility.
Yeah, I agree. And I also find it interesting that they mentioned Dogecoin as if it has some type of utility
Oh man.
associated with it. I mean, it's going to be added on Flare Network, which is good because Flare Network is such a up and coming and I would say a vital change to the cryptocurrency community, especially with the lower fees associated with transactions in comparison to Ethereum. But when we talk about utility, I'm just surprised that they added that there. Probably because of the I would say clickbait of this article, but also because of the amount of momentum that was put behind Dogecoin in the past couple months. And I just find it interesting that now they're starting to run with it and actually act as if it has some type of long-term prosperity associated with it.
Right. And you know, I know you mentioning Bitcoin. Did you hear about the 33-year-old who lost a lot in Dogecoin?
Yeah, it was funny because I was actually watching a video earlier on this.
Okay. Yeah, so the guy lost I think 167,000 in one day, is that correct?
Yeah, so this is something that I found interesting just because as an investor ourselves, I do a lot of planning before I execute. I do a lot of research. That's why I'm saying these things about Dogecoin in general. But if I were to hop on the train, like the FOMO train, for instance, I would know when to hop off and take my gains. And if I was serious about this coin, as he's being serious about this coin, I would take my gains like probably double of what I just sold off because of the dip. So
Yeah.
it's interesting that he lost 160,000, $67,000 after he was just a millionaire a couple months ago, all because he refuses to sell anything.
Right, and I think that also shows how volatile the market is currently, which that's why it's important to know what you're getting into. When you get into something like Dogecoin that's a fad coin, you could see overnight millions. You could
Yeah.
see instant wealth due to it being a fad, but then also at the same time, there's an exact opposite to that. You could lose everything. Like he invested, I think, 250,000 in Dogecoin in
Hmm.
February, became a millionaire in April, and then as of a few days ago, his portfolio went down 167,000 and now he's not a millionaire anymore.
I guess just in Dogecoin aspect, he's not a
Yeah,
millionaire.
yes. Well, he's a Dogecoin millionaire as as they call it. But that's why we keep preaching do your research, know what you're getting into before you make huge investments because it's the smart investments that are going to be here for years and years and years to come. It's like if you would have invested in Apple right as they became a company. It was smart to invest in them. Do your research. Know what you're getting into. It's that I mean, I don't know how much I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, so you know.
No, I mean it's good. The audience needs to know that it's cool if you want to hop on a FOMO train, but you also need to know when to hop off that train before it collides into a wall. So just knowing that he got into Doge in February, literally this year, at 4.5 cents, when he could have got into Doge last summer, 2020, at I think it was at 0.0004 or something like that, around that range, either that or 0.004. Either way, if he was actually a serious investor as to what he portrays to be, he would have made a lot more money. But to me, it feels as though he just hopped on the train, took his ability to either just have 250,000. I don't really know this dude. I'm not sure what he does for like outside of investing, but he could have taken that money earlier and he would still be a millionaire right now because of when he would have bought. So the
Right,
loss wouldn't have really been as impactful as it is right now.
right.
And speaking of due diligence, as we mentioned before, mining Bitcoin in China has become even more stricter. It appears as though, well, reports are saying that 90% of China's Bitcoin mining capacity is estimated to have been shut down. Do you know what that means, Josh?
Yeah, that is probably part of the reason why Bitcoin has been decimated the past few days, due to the
Hmm.
fact that 65% of the hash rate in China takes place there. So essentially 65% of the Bitcoin mining has almost just been wiped out.
Yeah, it's been a very impactful change, and I just thought this article was pretty interesting because you can see that Bitcoin has an influence on the entire market. As you said before, it is the father of cryptocurrency. So it's not surprising that other cryptocurrencies are reducing as Bitcoin has reduced as well. I just find it possibly troublesome depending on the sustainability of these miners wanting to, you know, leave China and then go somewhere else. Some of them are saying they're going to come to North America. I know in Texas there is a up and coming mining farm. So it's going to be interesting what's going to happen in the next few months or even a couple years as we see China's already shutting them down. Do you think America's going to start shutting them down?
We'll have to see. I mean, we'll have to see what's going on with the Ripple case because I believe we will see regulation as soon as we get into that. And speaking of Ripple, we have a video here of Monica Long discussing some of the financial players for crypto and how China's been tightening down. Let's go ahead and play that real quick.
So, in consideration with what's going on globally, I know you wouldn't be impacted by the China crackdown directly, but it does speak to the broader issue as to regulators trying to hurry up here and come to some agreement on how to regulate this space. I mean, what is your impression? Does this continue to be just a massive overhang on the price? We continue to see volatility until there's more consensus globally how authorities should handle the.
What we're seeing in China, as Arjun had said, it's not new. So this was a cryptocurrency ban the government came out with in 2013, reiterated in 2017, and now we see it again in 2021 on the back of a big bull run across crypto. And so, regulators around the world are paying attention to it. We're seeing a lot of positive developments in global regulation. Places like Singapore, Japan, Switzerland, the UK, they've all come out with clear regulatory frameworks for crypto assets and how they'll treat them. And I think it's notable that with this latest surge in cryptocurrency market activity between 2020 and 2021, it's.
What do you think about that, Malik? What do you think about crypto becoming the new financial system?
I can see that happening. Look at how Swift. I saw an article earlier and I was trying to find it, or not an article, a tweet earlier, and I was trying to find it. They basically announced that Swift is upgrading its platform, and under the comments is just like, "Oh, you mean this is going to be Ripple's platform?" Because that's basically what it is. Swift is the foundation as to what was currently used in the modern day, and now Ripple is going to transition to provide and quicker settlement payments cross border wise. So it's not surprising that Ripple's getting ahead of this and already in talks with all these other countries that have already established regulation laws, provided clarity as to what can and cannot be done. And we're still in the US and they're just now starting a committee about this.
Right, and this is why we've been saying the past few videos that it's a very big disappointment that the United States, that's been a leader in innovation in a lot of areas, that one of the most important sectors anywhere, the financial system, we're behind. This is something we should all be on board with, and we see all these other countries like Japan and Singapore and places that they're already setting the framework. basically for Ripple. As she described, she essentially described Ripple. I know it sounds a little biased, but I mean, we try to look at the picture as a whole, and
Yeah, and
and it's hard. It's glaring. It's very glaring as far as
it's
I can see.
yeah, it's very factual in its logics. Logistically speaking, they are able to do things quicker, and then also with the Nostros Vosos, I'm pronouncing that
No
incorrectly.
Stravosto.
Yeah, the $1 trillion cross-border fees and balances that can't be done with Swift as quickly as what Ripple can do. So it's going to be interesting what's going to happen as we start to see transitionings by central banks across the world as they either take on this updated Swift platform, which is more than likely going to occur with Ripple. And speaking of Ripple, we have an update regarding the settlement or possible settlement, if you will, based on a legal expert's opinion on the case. Do you think there's going to be a settlement, Josh?
You know, based off of our, I know we're a big fan of Jeremy Hogan. He follows the case pretty close. He seems very experienced to me. His dad, I believe, is a very respected, like old, experienced judge. So I believe that his opinion of the fact that we will see a settlement is very factual. I feel it's very possible, but at the same time, the SEC is they're bullying Ripple right now. They are doing what I know happens on a lot of legal cases when you're going up big entities such as the SEC. They're buying time. They are just extending time,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what they do when they want to try to burn them out of funds or stuff like that. And I don't see Ripple going anywhere, but at this point in time, it's very obvious the SEC is just trying to throw their weight around and try to get as much leverage, and the only leverage they have is extending the time, unfortunately.
Yep. I agree. Similar to what Hogan said, is it likely to occur? Probably not, in my opinion, just based on the fact that if y'all recall, at the end of last year, what's his name? Brad put out a tweet thread basically explaining that there's going to be a lawsuit brought up by the SEC, and we've tried having conversations multiple times with them, trying to have a settlement. I don't think the settlement that was approach to the SEC by Brad and Ripple was something that the SEC was willing to agree to, probably because it's going to change the layout of as to how the SEC identifies cryptocurrency. Because as we all remember, SEC is claiming that XRP is a security, and the Ripple failed to disclose or even apply for it as a security, and that's the argument, or that's basically what this argument is stating. So I'm not sure if there's going to be a settlement, and unfortunately, we won't know until after this discovery and pre-trial phase, which would be around October of this year. So I guess there's just more to come at this point. Right now, we're still in the discovery phase, and the SEC was granted a 2-month extension. So that's, I believe, August, September at this point. So is it possible? Yes. Do I think it's going to happen? No.
So what do you think it would do to Ripple if they didn't settle? How long do you think we would see as far as a potential settlement or a potential ending of this case? What do you think?
I agree with what Hogan's saying. I mean, when this case was brought up, I was thinking, okay, this is going to go on for a couple years minimum, because as you said before, when you go against the SEC, when you go against the government, they're going to draw things out. That's what they do. They always try to draw things out so the people that they are suing or bringing charges against or bringing allegations against, because you're innocent until proven guilty, they're still innocent. Nothing's been granted in favor of the SEC. They like to do these things so there can be a settlement that's favorable to the SEC. So, like said before, Brad and Ripple probably presented a settlement to the SEC that was favorable for both entities, but was probably changing the landscape into which we now see cryptocurrency and how it would be established, basically providing clarity, which the new commissioner what's his name, Gary Gensler, basically said we're not doing that at all this year. Y'all can talk to us next year, but right now we're not doing that. So I think this is going to go on until 2022, to be honest. Is this going to affect the price? Yes. But as we saw Bitcoin changing, dropping down, I'm not sure people realize that XRP is also used to help with transactions of Bitcoin. So, with more volume in other cryptocurrencies, XRP also changes as well. So that's why we say Bitcoin is the father of all these cryptocurrencies, because it has such a profound effect on all of these crypto tokens. Not all of them, but a good portion of them. And one of those is XRP, just because of the amount of payments that's transmitted using XRP to settle those transactions.
Right.
All right, to sum up the video, we just want to point out John Deaton had a live podcast with audience. I was in the audience, basically summarizing the SEC and Ripple Labs case in more detail, giving you a little perspective of the history, the opinions, the motions filed, along with discussions that were had between Ripple and the SEC and exchanges such as Coinbase and Binance, basically asking if XRP is a security or not, and then not receiving any information. So they still listed them back in 2019. So it was a good, I guess, podcast episode, if you will. And they also had the Forbes writer Rosalind Layton, or should I say Dr. Rosalind Layton, who basically gave her opinion in certain aspects, but could only speculate to a certain extent just because the case is still open and she did not want to cause any type of FOMOing, if you will, similar to
The,
like what Wall Street Bets is doing on Reddit. She didn't want to do that either.
she didn't
That
want
was
to influence it like Elon
right.
Musk influences certain things when he speaks about them,
Exactly. She doesn't
which
she doesn't
that's
want y'all to
fair.
think that her saying one thing is actually going to happen. She has a doctorate, yes, in international tech policy, but that does not mean that what she says is gospel. But she does come from an academia background, which provides profound insight. So she did refuse answering certain questions just because of the speculation and repercussions behind what people may take away from that.
Right. And what did you think? How do you think she did as far as the questions and you know explanation on everything? Do you think she gave up more clarity towards what's going on, or
I think she did. She provided a academic and professional expertise in terms of the topic at hand. She was able to explain a lot of reasoning as to why certain things are occurring.
Mhm.
So it would be great if everyone listened to the podcast episode. Right now, it's not out. It was live, so I know that they recorded it. So once she posts her next article, I believe, like John said, she'll be providing a link in that. So we will be posting it on our Twitter page as well as our Facebook. But I believe we will also, mention in our upcoming videos once she does post that article on Forbes.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up for us. Thank you for watching our video.
Please make sure you like, comment, subscribe to our channel, and make sure you hit the notification bell so you are notified of any new videos we post.
Make sure you also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We'll see you next time, Crypto Army. Peace.